I think, let's see if this was a mistake, because today's title, the session is Mistakes Were Made. And this will be my first presentation that I'm doing without my anxiety medicine. So I'm feeling a little nervous right now, but this is why we're here, right? Hit it! The Mantle, 2009 is when we started as an online magazine. In 2014, we published our first book. And we have 8 titles now, 2 more coming this year. I am the sole individual working on our book publishing operations. This is the full title of my short presentation today, an echo of the keynote that was given yesterday, dedicated to all my sole proprietor indie publishers out there in the audience today. Because nod your head if this looks familiar to you. I am the CEO, the CMO, the CFO, the CRO, everything. I am the entire C-suite. I am all the executives and the boss. I am also the salesperson, the cashier, the event coordinator, the publicist, the therapist to my authors, the accountant, the janitor to clean things up when things have gone awry. Top to bottom, I lock up the doors. I also work 50 hours a week at a corporate gig in New York City, the greatest city in the world, where I also try to maintain a social life and enjoy everything that the Big Apple has to offer. And I know you guys are feeling the same. There's just not enough hours in the day or weeks in the months and months in the year. Sometimes it feels like I'm Sisyphus rolling a rock up a hill every single day, every single week, wondering whether it's all worth it. Camus would argue it is, but on some days I feel like it's absolutely not. So to try and get through some of the processes, I adopted the Seinfeld strategy, which is a thing. Google it. There's a story. But the idea is that you work on your craft every single day. And when you do, you put an X on the calendar and try not to break the chain of X's. 4 days, 9 days, 2 weeks, and so on. With all this coal mining, you're sure to come up with some diamonds every once in a while. Accomplishments, milestones, an increase in professionalization of your craft. I did it for 65 days in a row earlier this year, on top of all that other stuff that I told you that I do, living in New York. Burned me out. For 3 weeks, I didn't even want to look at the Mantle. Didn't want to open my inbox. Things just fell by the wayside. I was sick of it. This, I came to realize, is the folly of the lone wolf. That just because, I am the sole proprietor of this book publishing business, doesn't mean that I should do everything. Doesn't mean that I can do everything. This is a chalkboard because I've learned some lessons along the way. I know how to design the interior and exterior of a book. I can now balance my QuickBooks. I know how to run a marketing campaign. I've made some financially costly mistakes, but sometimes it feels like I'm walking around in the woods without a path and all by myself. And it's difficult to see the beautiful forest for the trees because there's so many damn trees. And sometimes they're on fire and they're falling in front of me. So I discovered IBPA and CLMP, both of them 2 years ago. Both of these organizations, CLMP, Community of Literary Magazine Presses based in New York, have helped me tremendously, giving me increased access to individuals like you, networks, friendship, camaraderie. I pub you 2 years in a row, plus every other webinar that goes out I sign up for. CLMP access to mentors at Akashic, Archipelago, Coffee House, and so on. So I've realized it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to, ask for help. It doesn't mean that the struggle isn't real and that the struggle doesn't continue. But I do want everybody who is thinking about starting their own traditional independent publishing group as a sole proprietor to know that you've got to give up something meaningful in your life if you're going to be serious about it. If we think about the 4 main components of anybody's life, career, relationships, hobbies and leisure, and your own personal path, maybe it's a spiritual path, you take on a 5th element, something's going to fall by the wayside. For me, that was relationships. My social circle shrank. My friend circle shrank. Love has been delayed. And I have to ask, myself, whether it's been worth it. and whether it is worth it, and whether I should continue moving on with it. So if you are thinking about starting your own independent publishing business, make sure you're in it for the right reasons, and make sure you ask for help. It'll make things a whole lot easier.